Hello, my name is Dan Johnson and welcome back to the Who Podcast. This month we are back with Will, who has returned after a couple of months hiatus due to him
Hello.
working.
I just realised you can see my pants in the background. Oh well.
It's a little tease for the OnlyFans that you have to make when you get fired.
Get down to 1,000 subscribers and we'll make a Who Pod OnlyFans.
What would it be? Just lots of like pictures of no. Cut.
That's what it's going to be. So if you want, no, don't cut that.
No,
Because
don't
then they
cut
get a
it.
little tease of the stuff that it's going to be.
Oh god, this
Gonna be
is filthy.
Doing cheap stuff in the microphones.
Okay, I'm not participating in any of that.
All right, you don't have to.
Yeah.
I make the money then.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we actually get on to the point of this.
Yeah, so we keep getting sidetracked.
We've restarted like 500 times.
And we're going to do it again.
No, we're not. We've got this.
You talk
Let's
about
try.
your pants and your OnlyFans.
Look, not my fault, all right?
Okay.
It's God's plan.
What, for you to have an OnlyFans or just
It's God's
for you to
plan.
drop out of university and start an OnlyFans?
Are you going to be horrible to me all episode, Dan?
Yes. Yes, I will be. But
That's
occasionally, we actually do work together properly, don't we?
We occasionally do some serious work together, yeah.
Well, but for about 2 minutes, then we just mess around for
And
about
then
40
that's
minutes.
about,
Yeah.
Someone's
We mess around filming 40 minutes of podcast intro.
40 minutes of pod. There's going to be so much, probably more cut footage than there is actual podcast.
Yeah, there will be today.
Yeah.
Because we can't get words out without laughing or without just mentioning something completely different to what we're talking about. And having to cut it.
Don't. I'm good.
He's good. He's going to start giggling in a second. But we actually have been working together recently because over the last 3 years, we've actually made episodes of Doctor Who.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, we've had a go.
We've done something productive.
Yeah, we have actually made a thing that you can watch, and the first episode is out on Friday the 16th of June, which is this month. So it's about, 10 days if you're watching this on the day it airs.
If you're watching this the day we record it, that's in 3 months' time.
Don't ruin the magic. Do you want to pull your Easter egg out again?
Currently, the 10th of April. Easter, that's not Easter, that's my Funko Pop. Easter was yesterday.
It's currently Easter Monday.
It is Bank Holiday Monday after Easter.
Because that was the only day that Will was definitely not at work.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, professional. What I wanted to do...
I can rest, there we go.
Okay. What I wanted... So...
Oh.
Oh.
I'm really...
Oh.
Never mind. Never mind.
Virtual eyes, children. So before we start asking questions, I thought we'd talk about how the series came about. So I think it all started with you, didn't it, Will?
Yeah.
Do you remember a different story, or has it slipped your mind?
No, I remember it was lockdown.
It was.
And during lockdown, I joined this. We both had Doctor Who fan accounts on Instagram.
We did.
Mine is now dead. Rest in peace, Madman with the Box. You outlived us all. You didn't.
It's gone. So it definitely
It's gone now. It's
That's the
deleted.
wrong word. Yeah, but you had this account, didn't you? And you
Called
joined
Madman
the
with the
competition
Box.
thing.
I
Didn't
joined the competition hosted by Who Mysterio. A lot of people might know him. He's quite big in the Doctor Who news scene. And it was
called Hugh College, wasn't it? And the idea was that you and a group of people.
not University.
It may have been. It was something along those lines, wasn't it? I thought it was Hugh College.
Something like that.
But yeah, the idea was that you worked together with other Whovians who've entered in order to create projects.
Something.
Yeah, each week. And did you get a week for it? Each challenge, something like that?
Yeah, we got. I think it was 10 days, depending on how difficult the challenge was. It was a week or 2 weeks or 10 days. There was always little challenges like in between it. So randomly they'd go, oh, first person to comment this wins 10 points for the house, because you had teams and shit. So I was Team Casavan. Big up.
Yeah, and so it meant that you joined this, and you got quite involved in one of the challenges, didn't you?
I don't want to say project manager,
Right.
but
you took the lead.
I took the lead.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. You can tell I'm in the big world now, because I'm using proper words like project manager. Yeah, I took the lead in one of the challenges because it's something I'd always been interested in. Audio and editing, and anything editing, that's me. That's what I do. So I took the lead in one of the challenges that was create a story that can be used as a prequel/sequel to a previous episode.
I think it was, yes. And you chose The Woman Who Fell to Earth, didn't you?
No.
No? Did you not? It was 13th Doctor, wasn't it?
No, it was 11th Doctor.
What? What episode was it?
It was the sequel to Nightmare in Silver, because it cuts to a cyber mite still in space.
Okay. All right, yeah. I remember the sort of space background, and I thought she was there, but she's obviously not.
No, it is 11th Doctor and
Clara. So you wrote this as a team, we'll say.
I got people to do their lines for it. Yeah.
And then edited it, I guess.
Edited
you did it on your phone, didn't you?
I did it on my phone. I was new to this, but you know, I did it on my phone. We came fourth, so it wasn't the best one.
Yeah.
But you know,
you got the bug, so to speak.
Yeah, we said our feedback was good editing. The story just didn't make enough sense, though. Which is fair enough. I say it was my first time writing and whatever. And because I did that, I showed Dan it, and Dan, you actually said it was pretty decent.
Yes, yeah. Well, because I've never seen you put your mind to things before. It's only me badgering you to do something.
No, yeah, and then because I enjoyed doing that task so much, I thought I'm going to start an independent thing of doing my own audio drama. So I scripted a couple of episodes, and then was in talks with Dan. Just because you were doing your Lego series, weren't you?
I was, yeah, at the time.
And were you interested in audio drama?
Yes, because a lot of people that were doing the animation stuff were also doing audio drama, and I saw it as an advantage because you were able to do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. Like, you're limited quite a lot by your sets. So if you're not limited by your sets, you can do sort of a more interesting adventure, a little bit more expressive, and go a bit wilder. So it was on the cards then, wasn't it? And we kind of sat on it for a while.
It was always something we wanted to produce a big project that we did together.
Yeah. Because the Lego series was always sort of mine, and then I kind of forced you to do lines for it.
Forced me to do some lines for the Doctor.
Yeah.
And one of the worst performances of my life.
I've got old animations. The Avengers thing, if you remember doing that. You did it in my garage.
Did I play Spider-Man?
Thor. You definitely played Thor, and I think you played quite a few other characters as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you gave each one like strange. I've got the video somewhere of you going through it and pretending to be.
I made a joke that some of the characters are kissing in the background, and then you actually got your sister Becky to do the mwah, mwah, mwah sounds as well.
Did I? Really?
And then you did. And then when it come out, it was. I can't remember which character. I want to say Thor, Spider-Man, whatever it was.
How old were we? Like 11?
Oh, yeah. Literally about
10 years ago.
Oh my god!
So 10 years ago, I think it was kind of the sort of edgy sort of YouTube humor on it.
Yeah, my humor still hasn't changed.
The humor was broken, I think, at that age.
It was broken, and then when I actually watched it back, I was like, "Oh, that was really. Why did I do that?"
Yeah. You're kind of embarrassed by the thing you created.
Was Was that the?
They were awful
Was
animations.
that the same day where you threatened to kill me because I couldn't do anything serious?
I've threatened to kill you quite a few times. It's yeah. So with a bit of maturity, I was like, yeah, we can take on this project now of doing an audio series. And you even had some ideas of what you wanted it to be, and then a few that we then ended up thinking about and abandoning.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a timeline in my phone, Will. Do you want to? So it's taken us a very long time to finish these episodes.
It has. Is it laziness or is it how long it took to come out? Because I've always thought about that. Could we have done this within a year? I don't think we could.
No, I think that because it took so long for us to script them.
Scripting alone took 6 months.
Yeah, well, for your episode, and then I did 2 episodes. So, and we only got one finished December last year.
And that was episode 3.
Which is ironically episode 3, because we had the lines.
The last episode of the bunch.
Yeah. And then episode 1 is now almost finished, and will obviously be finished by the time this comes out.
Episode 1 is currently under technical difficulty, but that will be out,
being that you don't have a laptop,
Friday.
And episode 2 is much in the same state, where it needs some stuff from Will, but there's no computer for Will to record, so we need to organise a new way of doing it.
I mean, I'm literally holding a mic. I'm using my phone, my computer. My computer is bus. So that ruse is. I don't know why I was still holding it.
The ruse is broken. Yeah,
ruse is broken. My Mac is broken.
Yeah.
So I have to use my phone.
So it took us, as you say, a year or so to script 3 episodes.
Yep.
And then the episodes were finished, obviously in 2022. Yep. Then from casting, I started casting episodes in 2021.
Casting took longer than I thought it was going to.
And it finished with Evan recently, last February, where we finished his lines.
Who would have known for the best casting go to the people you know in person?
The worst part of the process for me was doing the casting stage, because you had to politely ask for somebody for lines, and then you might politely to ask for redos or almost reminders to get lines sent to you, because life gets in the way, and of course you're doing a massive favour for somebody. Sort of people obviously get things in the way, which then slow things down, and because obviously you're not all thinking about a little Doctor Who project, and it's quite a commitment in it to sit down and record a script that isn't your own, that you have no association with other than you're doing it as a favour for someone. So I totally understood the issues.
There's no drive. But I don't blame them at all. Because I feel like if I got sent a script and I was like, no, I'd rather watch TV.
Yeah. But that's why I was so incredibly grateful to all of the people that actually lended their voices to the series.
Yeah, the people that I've actually sent through, and if you're listening to this, people that have actually done lines for this, like, thank you.
Because I think that if we didn't have them, then we definitely would not have a series. And some of the voice talent on this is
because it would have to. It would have come to us putting on voices.
Yes, which is sometimes it is. That is what we're doing anyway.
Well, yeah, for the little characters. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
main story characters that are actually voice acted, I don't think we couldn't have done it.
No, oh no. So I think that we'd have to then really cut down our scripts massively because we wouldn't have the people. And
one thing I will say, they're decently length script, decent length episodes.
That's also a bit of a challenge in it as well, because
I was when we were thinking about first, I thought, the episode will only be about 10 minutes long. First draft of episode 1, close to half an hour.
Yeah, each one's about half an hour long. Episode 2 is I think episode 2 is probably going to be the longest of the 3 because its script is over.
You're kind of split up, aren't you?
I split it into acts because I did it mostly for a psychological reason. Because one, I knew that it'd be easier for me to edit them if they were in acts, because then I could finish I could script edit older acts and stuff like that and separate it, because otherwise you're tackling this massive 90-page project. So I separated it into acts.
Are we going to release it as a full thing though? I feel like we should.
Are we? I don't know. I feel like that would make sense eventually. Yeah.
I feel like if it's... Are we talking about 40 minutes, roughly?
I don't know yet at all, because there's not enough scenes complete.
Okay.
But I would say we're looking at around 15 to 20 minutes apart. If you're looking at a 9-page script, if you ask somebody as a favour to come and write, to come and do scenes for you in a script that's 90 pages long. It's just it's so difficult to find the motivation to do it, isn't it? Things change obviously, and people say that they can't do it roles for you, or they would need sort of reduced roles instead of the roles they're originally going to give them. And then you keep sort of going back to the drawing board and sort of picking out different people, and then you kind of convince yourself that this person's very good. Like I did with Evan, for example.
Has there been a character we had to cut because we just couldn't find the person for it, and we split the lines?
No one has been cut. No character was cut. So there was a character that was written specifically for someone, and obviously everything and every character, well, most characters in fact, had people in mind originally to take those roles.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, I think my juggling of writing characters versus casting could have been handled better, because I think that I should have only gone to people with finished scripts, right? I mean, they were.
Yeah, I feel like the scripts in the future when we do part 2, series 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, next year.
Right, a couple of years later, mate. 2026, no doubt. At the speed that we do these, the sort of lessons that you learn though, it's more logistical in many respects, because I mean, we can get to the editing stuff later, but like logistically, I wanted sort of 3 episodes out, and I thought this is the best way to do it and all this kind of stuff, and then you change your mind and you go, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you like the first act. You get the first act, you send the lines back, you get the second act, which worked. And then I had like a build up of acts, and then the lines weren't coming through because obviously people are busy, and you're kind of, you can't blame them for it, but obviously it's you want to get your project finished, and you're excited to build the scenes. So, but you just try and be as polite as you can. I never intended to be rude to anyone, and I feel like I haven't been.
I know like you were.
So, but it's very tricky to organise people. It's the bit, I disliked out of the most. With the casting and getting the
But talking about the writing, Dan, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Was it hard not to visually write?
I mean, I think all 3 of them are quite visual, though.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yes, they are.
I think...
I feel possibly episode 2 is the least visual.
Okay, because what? Because it's like sort of smoke-based, more conversation-based.
Oh, you can't really see it, and it's very... Oh, no, wait, how are you going to... We'll get to this later on, but it is very difficult to, because obviously when I'm writing, as I've not written, I'll actually probably the same with you because you've done animations which have been visual. Yeah. For me, when I'm writing, I'm picturing it as an episode, because I'm not a big finished listener. I watch Doctor Who, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
So when I'm writing, I'm imagining it on screen, and that is one thing that I really had to stop. I was writing and went, there's no way I can do this without visuals.
Yeah.
So I had to cut maybe even 2 scenes worth of something because there was no way of doing it but within audio.
But we've both been guilty of that, though, because we moved around some bits in episode 1, didn't we? And originally there was this like dash scene where the Doctor dashes through the villains, the Raxons. And it was like, yeah, this seems cool for an episode, but it doesn't work on audio, because otherwise it's just this like dun 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 dun, dun and footsteps. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no, that is the one. I'd say that's the biggest struggle for me, writing wise, was realizing what would work as audio and not visual.
Painting pictures through the dialogue instead of, because you can't see it. So if there's something new, you need to introduce it, but you don't want to be like,
you don't want exposition, constant exposition. You don't want, oh wow, look at them 2 buildings over there, perfectly aligned. Like you can't. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You've got to be slightly clever with how you deliver it, so it feels natural, rather than it being like, do this.
And we'll get onto it later. The editing as well, I feel really helps.
Yeah.
Personally.
Obviously, you need. I think first off, you need a really good script, because even within just about most of the episodes, I've rejiggled lines of some sort.
We all have. Like, there's many times where like, even the first script went through several.
It did
versions,
several redrafts and several
redrafts,
bits, yeah.
And even with scripts 2 and 3, there's many times when you've just hopped on a call, shared your screen, and we've just read through it as characters,
yeah,
and gone, that line or that joke doesn't hit. Let's change this here.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
that is that possible to do without visuals, and
yeah,
because your first idea was like having this whole house like light up with loads of colours, wasn't it? And it was like, how are we meant to do that?
Yeah.
And then we changed that, and then it kind of had to, without giving too much away.
Yeah, so in episode 3, there's a house, and originally the house had like the way of showing it was weird was to have weird things in the house, so it wouldn't have worked
without the drop switch going, wow, why is this plant purple when it should be green? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like
it was going to be like, there's an element of it I think in the script now, but originally there was going to be a lot more of, this shouldn't be here, this is like 100 years out of date and stuff like that, like from the future, and that sort of stuff doesn't work with the thing, you know. Hence, well, I mean, it's not a spoiler, it's called the hollow house. There's something definitely wrong with the house in the episode.
There's definitely something wrong with the house. It's hollow.
The one that excites me the most in terms of visual like appeal is episode 3, because I think this is very cool visual look in my head that it has, that it's very difficult. I just hope that people are able to sort of translate that. Because
for me personally, I think the episode we're going to have the best response to is episode 2.
You reckon the smoke episode?
Yeah, because it's very. Well, you have to kind of do a simplistic script, but without a children's script. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to admit it now, and I know I've said this to you in the past. The plot twist in episode 3 still confuses me, even though you've explained it.
It's supposed to.
It's not like, you know, for me, it's like a plot twist goes, I was like, oh yeah, of course. When you explain your plot twist, I'm like, right?
Well, episode 3 is based off like murder mystery episodes and like Priory and stuff. And at the end, they basically have a big exposition dump of what's happening.
They do.
And so they follow that format.
The exposition dump. I think it was mainly the first draft of the script. It was very.
The first draft was a lot.
First draft,
yeah,
you were
silly.
reaching for that plot twist.
Yeah. And then we kind of put in a few more like sort of basic.
We had to add a little bit of.
Made it a little bit simpler. Yeah.
Yeah, because I said that's because once you've got an idea in your head, it's very difficult to what did I say? Once you've got that idea in your head, it's very difficult to then imagine it how other people would see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was writing Hunt of London, episode 1, I'm imagining, right, they're going to go for they're going to go through the underground. It's going to be really busy. He's going to tap the car. It's all how it's in my head. He's going to sit down on the tube. Massive crash of light. And that's what we had to change, actually. Massive crash of light in episode 1.
Oh, yes. Light in an audio series.
Light. Yes. Do you know what I mean? I feel we're both very visual writers, so it's a challenge for us.
Yeah. I've always looked at it as being like, if for example a producer picked up the scripts, they could say, like, I have an idea of what the things would look like, because you paint the picture sort of organically, and then the difficult thing is expressing how that looks through the audio.
I don't know how the hell the Raxons look like.
I think even thought about how the Raxons looked while editing it, and I imagine, like, it's not specified.
My idea for the Raxons was, in It Takes You Away.
Yeah.
Is that called series 11?
Yeah.
Is it what's the creature called?
Ribbons.
I imagine they look a bit like ribbons, but a bit more reddish.
Ooh, that's very interesting. Because
how did you imagine the Raxons looking?
A bit quite magnificent, like tall creatures with sort of claws, like almost like insect, like spider, like sort of arachnosy kind of things. With these huge sort of coned heads that come out a bit. Like,
Oh,
so
a bit like
there's a Ben
bit
10
like
character that does it, where it comes out like that, with like this
right.
massive, bit like Alien, with these sort of big sort of jaw
Oh,
things, and then
yeah,
these big
Xenomorph.
pointy
Yeah.
heads. Yeah, it looks like a xenomorph a bit. And then these kind of tentacles and these sort of legs, and quite battle ready and quite intimidating. I think it was. I definitely pictured the height more. The scenes in the tube where I imagined the camera being like over the shoulder of a Raxon looking down on the others and stuff like that.
See, I feel like, but with the Raxons, they're not that important to the story because that first episode is mainly to get to know the new Doctor and the companion.
Yeah, I think even Stephen Moffat has said something along those lines as well, talking about how you need a villain, you need a threat, but the point of the threat is to be defeated by the Doctor.
Is to be defeated by a Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the Doctor
And I feel like the Raxons, no matter what you think they look like, have still got that intimidation.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, or for people to come up with their own interpretations of what they look like.
Of the Raxons.
Yeah.
Especially as they are an original idea.
Because I think that's the thing that I've really enjoyed about listening to Big Finish things, is that each episode that I listen to, I picture my own, like 8th Doctor stuff, I picture my own different world compared to somebody else's world. So like Masterful, for example, starts off in this big castle, right? And the first half an hour is all the masters meeting each other and these beautiful interactions between them. It's one of my favourite audios, actually. And I imagine them like on a massive hill, because they have to climb up a big hill. So you get lots of sort of cues of what it looks like, but the actual interpretation of how you see the castle is up to you. And that script particularly is very good at painting the picture of what it looks like. So all the elements are there. You just kind of get the details yourself. So I imagine like the cutlery, the things like that, of being this sort of very gothic look, and I think it works incredibly well. So that's why I really enjoyed the audio stuff, and the writing of it was quite fun.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what visual aspects you can get across without it being a visual episode.
Yeah.
So my last question about the writing for you, Dan, is how do you come up with a script? Like you get your initial idea.
Yeah.
What do you then do with your idea? Do you just go straight to writing, or?
So, how I've always done it, and I don't really remember doing it with episode 2, but I definitely remember doing it with episode 3, was, so I came up with the idea while talking to Yasmin one night, and I was just sitting there, and I went, oh, that'd be like a murder mystery episode, but within like set in the Doctor Who universe with kind of sci-fi elements, and it slowly builds. And I was like, that works quite well. So I wrote that down and sort of thought about that for a few weeks. And thinking about that, you then develop a bit of a picture of what it might look like. You think about some of the characters that might live in this world. So I think I had a list somewhere of sort of the character archetypes of what would be in this house. Originally there was a few more, and I think I showed them to you as well.
Yes.
So then we had this sort of character archetype of, like, for example, I knew that I wanted Val in the series, so I knew that there had to be a character in the house that was her. So I thought there was like her. So I went, oh, we've got the Spanish element. That would be an interesting thing to include. So obviously I made her Spanish. Originally, I kind of delved deeper into the
only Spanish person a maid.
No, she's not maid.
She's a maid.
Performer of some sort. Was how I. Well, see,
so
I imagined her in this big sort of beautiful dress. That kind of came out like here. Right by her sides. I originally wrote some ideas about like subplots about sort of why she was there, whether she was there for the estate and kind of worming towards the man of the house, for example, because there's an element of like when she first introduces herself to them, she's introducing herself even though she's not part of the family or the lady of the manor, but she's introducing herself as the lady of the manor anyway, and sort of as the hostess. So there's lots of sort of little things I hope translate. But yeah, so I started with that, go to the characters, then I kind of do a scene breakdown. And with episode 3, there is a very clear scene breakdown of what happens. And then of course I start writing it. so the scene breakdown is where it all really comes together, and then obviously you start writing it, and occasionally you might add some new stuff in and remove some stuff, and then we go into a bit of a drafting process, which is what we talked about before, where we'd go through and read the scripts and change lines and various other things.
Yeah, you get your initial draft of the script, and it goes through many different. Like we'd literally like, you send me a script, I'd read it, I'd change that, and then you'd probably send me the same script 2 weeks later, and then we're still changing bits, even though we've not really changed much already.
Yeah, I think The Hunt of London has changed the most, because it was your script, and I thought it was a bit short in places. Then we added in some extra jokes, and some extra moments, and a little bit more character for some of the others, and then
we gave Reese some character.
We gave a bit more character to the people on the characters.
Because Reese. That I personally would say the hardest thing for me is writing a companion.
Yeah, because you don't want to sort of make them blank.
You don't want to Ryanify them.
Yeah.
You don't want to make them like Ryan. But the Doctor, I feel like the Doctor, no matter what, is always going to be cool. As long as you put in a bit of science babble and yada yada yada, the Doctor's the Doctor.
Yeah.
People have a vague idea about what the Doctor is. When you're introducing a new companion, everyone knows, the companion's basically the audience. It's not that easy.
No, I like how you slipped into a Ryan Sinclair accent when you talk like that. But yeah, I would agree, because when you write the companion, you don't want them to be just asking questions all the time. But at the same time, you don't want to make them the Doctor too much.
Yeah, you don't want to clarify them, and you don't want to Ryanify them.
Yeah, so it's a weird balance. I think in episode 2, he does get some moments to shine. And actually it has sort of an independent
Episode 1,
streak.
I reckon I think episode 1 he gets a couple moments.
Yeah, he does in episode 1 as well.
Episode 3 he is kind of sidelined, but
Episode 3, there's a lot going on in episode 3.
But that's good. There's a lot going on, and you've got a lot of guests, and you want to give it to the guests.
I sort of broke it down as sort of going. I mean, the Doctor's the most important character through the 3 episodes. But then I thought, like, we kind of share the importance. Like, it's almost like this is Reese's episode, or this is Reese's scene, or stuff like that. So there's elements of it.
Reese, by the way, is the companion, if you didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's important, that bit.
Yeah, Reese is the name of the companion.
Yeah. So
here's a question.
Yes.
Episode 2, have you got original villains?
Yes.
How do you come up with a name?
I don't remember if they have an actual name.
So honest. You have chosen the easy way out.
I have chosen the easy way out.
Raptors,
I can't remember if I wrote one in.
Raxons, Raxon.
Boom, Raxons. Yeah. Job done.
I'll tell you where I got the idea from.
Yeah.
Because hunting, raptors, the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I was like, raptors, ratsons, ractons, and just kept...
Ractons.
Yeah. And there's like Raxons. Ooh! That didn't sound too bad.
Basically, you just spitball a bunch of like syllables in your mouth.
You do. You literally... You're thinking, what's the vague premise of their... For me, the hunt. So raptors came to mind when I thought of hunting. Because I've been playing a lot of Ark. And then I was just out loud, just spitballing names until one struck. Raxons.
We got Raxons. Job done.
Job done.
But I think I kind of skipped it slightly. It's quite a difficult thing to do.
But what are the villains called in episode 2, Daniel?
I can't remember.
You can't say the smoke.
It is I think he does get a name.
That is a Chris Chibnall villain name.
He does get a name, but I'm not entirely sure from memory what it is.
Wow.
I think there's a line when he tries to deduce what he is, and he comes up with the name.
Here's another question, because obviously in episode 1, the Doctor is also honestly, I'm going from my script. That's when I wrote, and yada yada yada. Episode 1, the Doctor is spitballing planets that these people could be from. Did you ever have to come up with the name of a planet?
Are you just trying to make it out that you had a harder time writing episode 1?
No. I'm saying, like, did you have to come up with this name, and like, how did you do it? Basically, how did you come up with names and for things that wasn't already in the universe? It's very easy to say, oh, it's from Rax Coracle Falabatorius.
Yeah. I think you just kind of. It's quite a simple answer. Make it up. In many respects,
you do make it up.
You just, like you say, just spitball it like you would do a character name, and then you keep going until you get something that sounds all right. I think there's a line, a planet name in your episode that you wrote specifically to annoy me, and it was Quantum Bion Exploon.
Quantum Bion Exploon Blitten?
No, Quantum Bion Exploon, which is a planet apparently.
What was it?
Quantum Bion Exploon.
Quantum Bion Exploon, yeah, that's it, yeah.
So
I purposely went, I want to hear Dan struggle saying this planet.
You wanted to butcher the line.
The initial idea for that planet was even longer.
Was that? Oh yeah, because you were gonna. Like, is it in Wales?
Cranton. It was Cranton Bion Bitten Splitten. Cranton Bion Bitten. Cystiarian Exploon.
Cystiarian Exploon. So basically, you just wanted to really make me cock up my line several times. I
really wanted to hear you say, God, they might from Cranton Bion Bitten. It's difficult to say.
You just wanted me to choke on my words, like I do that anyway.
We changed the name of that planet, so now it's just
Quantum Bion
Exploon.
Yeah. But what I'm going to ask you now about, I don't know what you've written. Next, but I was going to ask about the acting and actually playing the roles. So,
for me personally, I felt like I put. This is not going to sell this thing, but I felt like I put no character into Reese.
It was just you.
It was just me, and that's why I'm glad we are finally doing these re-records of Reese's lines, because I'm finally putting character into Reese.
Well,
and I don't want.
A lot of the issues production-wise was actually because you could not record your own lines.
It is.
Which means that we had to do it over the internet, and over the internet, it sounds a little bit rough.
I do sound like I'm talking into a Pringles can.
Yeah, you do. So we kind of had to work out a way to do it.
Daniel, these are my lines. Can you hear my lines?
Yeah. So then we had to work out a way of doing it, and we
got candle breath.
We did it. Yeah, just inhaled the candle. But yeah, we worked out a way of doing it, and then you ended up recording episode 3 in one day in my house just before Christmas, didn't we? And I just went through and replaced all the lines, and then that was episode 3 done.
So that's because I have no lines in episode 3, so that was fine.
Yeah, but it became quite a bit of a hurdle, didn't it? Was that we had to re-record lines, but you didn't just play Reese, of course. You have actually played many other characters in the series.
Yeah. No, I played the Raxons was quite easy. The Raxons was just sound intimidator and stuff like that.
Really deep, and that
they don't sound like this though, do they? This kind of sounds like a northern, northern alien.
It's quite interesting though, because like Nicholas Briggs and stuff talks about how tonally how you do the voice depicts how the voice sort of how the emotions the voice gives. So if you speak in a husky tone like that, and then if you bring your voice up and down as we did when we played Raxons, it kind of makes this kind of slithery sort of vile creature. But then if you just...
I can't remember how we did the voice for the Raxons.
As in we sat here and we went... like that for about half an hour.
Begin.
Yeah, we sat there for about half an hour. And just
very, very raspy. It's also difficult when you're in raspiness is to actually get your words out.
Yeah, exactly. You need like, diction, you need tone, but you need to sound alien.
You can't. You need to proper. I say it gives me more. Well done to Nicholas Briggs, like especially for the Daleks.
Yeah.
Or the Cybermen, I mean, like. But so, I know I'm going to let the hunt, but like let the hunt. You really need to say them words.
And
you
even
can't just
if you paused in a different place, it feels different, doesn't it? The line sounds different if you pause in different places. So I found that was quite difficult because you were given like multiple options of how to do a scene, and sometimes I noticed that my tone in particular was then re-recorded or even rewritten to fit the tone of the other characters, because sometimes you record a line and you go, actually that's far too long for what it needs to be, and stuff like that.
Let's talk more about the editing now. Just we spoke a lot about the rewriting and stuff. How to build atmosphere in an edit?
So so
because you've got your lines.
Yeah.
This is all Dan's done all the editing because obviously my Mac is fucked.
Yeah. And he's quite lazy. So.
I am making excuses and I'm lazy.
Yeah. 2 years.
Dan has done all.
2 years, one scene.
Dan has done all the editing. How do you build atmosphere when you've just got lines?
So, should I start with the process from sort of as I open Audacity?
Yes.
So I'd open up Audacity and I would put in the dialogue first. So you time it so that it works at a nice sort of pace and it has a nice rhythm to it. That can take a little while, especially as I'm saying. So I get the dialogue in, and then at that point I start putting in the important sound effects. So stuff like if the scene needs a phone to ring, then the phone rings. Stuff like that. Okay. Happy June. And then at this point, I then start adding in explosion stuff, or sort of if it's a war scene, I put the background war thing in place. And then I would put in footsteps, stuff like that, and then slowly build up the picture. Some people I've heard go through person by person, and add cloth and stuff like that in. But for me, I felt like I didn't want to distract too much, and I felt I did not trust myself to add in so much detail, such as cloth. So the only time that you hear cloth or hear movement is when it's important to the scene. If the Doctor's going on a monologue, he's walking up and down, for example. But it all goes back to that idea of being on beat and being so that, if your sound effect is in a weird place, it sounds off and kind of puts you out the scene. But if it all blends in nicely, it all comes across as this nice thing to listen to.
Where do you find your sound effects?
A lot of them I got from a website called Pixelbay. Which is free and also does images and stuff as well. Some of them are from a YouTube library, and the internet basically for most of them.
How do you find the right sound effect?
A lot of trial and error, yeah, a lot of finding. My downloads page on this computer is full of sort of different tables moving, different footsteps, different things like that, because you're looking for the right one that fits in with the scene. And obviously it's obvious when it doesn't work, but when it works then it fits nicely.
Yeah.
And that was always something that I was because to begin with, the original series, like the original episodes that I started editing, the scenes that I started editing were a bit rough in places. They had a lot of issues. For example, the sounds of things, the mixing of things was all incorrect, and I went through and I fixed those things, and then I kind of was able to take a better grip on what we were making, when it came to particularly episode 1, and I'm very glad that I did those editing initially, because it meant that I had a better picture of what we were making, but it also meant I learned a lot of lessons of how to actually produce the series.
Sorry.
I'm really rude of me. Is eating an Easter egg.
It's July, Dan. June. What do you mean?
It's June. It's
June.
You're gonna ruin your tea.
Speaking of 3 months ago, we released a trailer.
Yes.
Feedback from that trailer. How did it make you feel?
So you're talking about the March trailer that came out on the 17th of March.
The March trailer.
And sort of gave the release date for the first episode. He's just using a lighter now. Used the release date for the first episode. So yeah, I was super happy with that trailer. for one. I thought that it worked incredibly well. The music was good. The pacing of it was good. I kind of got a lot of aspects that I wanted in. Originally, it was a slightly funnier trailer, but the music didn't quite mix in nicely, and I think that was part of the issue with why I abandoned that, restarted it, and did a better one that was kind of more a consistent tone. But yeah, I was really happy with the trailer, and a lot of people really liked it. And it's a little bit scary though, because when something
people
takes,
have now got their hopes up.
When something takes a long
so
time,
amazing.
When something takes a long time, people then sort of go, "Oh, I wonder when this comes out and what it's going to be like." And now you've gone, it's coming out in, at this point 10 days, 11 days, it will come out. And you're sitting there, and I'm probably quite right.
I know this is monthly, but I cannot imagine us actually releasing the first episode. I
You think the world's going to end?
See it. I do not see it happening.
Yeah, so long coming that it just can't be true, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was bound to happen. I was bound to finish it because I knew that I had the motivation to do it.
How it was I was bound to finish it, not was we was bound to.
Well, I finished the editing is what I meant, and I thought even if you gave up, I'd keep going.
All you. What do you mean?
You wrote some of the episodes. You script edited a lot of them, so obviously it's not just myself that makes them, and he has a lot of say on the actual episodes themselves. And I do go to him a lot, asking things like, "Does this sound okay?"
Yeah, it sounds all right.
Yeah. Does his poster look good and stuff like that? So
yeah, poster.
It's been
fun.
What
was the most recent one? Talked about the font. I was like, no, Dan, you need to have the red for the Hunt of London because it's the underground.
I changed the fonts around and stuff like that of the episodes, didn't I? And you were like,
yeah, but it's simple stuff. Like I would have come to you with the same questions and that.
Yeah. I think a lot of the reason that I kind of took it over in that respect was because it's quite in my personality to be like, right, let's get it done. Come on, let's go. And then like you're far more laid back and far more like.
I am the person who starts something and doesn't finish it.
Yeah.
I have for example, I recently, obviously I've got the Lego office set.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to do a bit of stop motion.
Did you?
I did. Gave up.
Took too long.
Took too long. Have you seen the thing on TikToks where they animate a Lego clip, an office clip to the Lego set?
Yeah.
I was trying to do something like that. Gave up.
Just didn't work.
Just didn't work.
Yeah, so I think that's why we make quite a good team, because I badger him enough to do things.
Yeah, when I've got that initial drive to do it, I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. When he comes to me saying, "Hi, this project we started when we were both 17, I'm going to go, fuck off."
Yeah, I'm going to give up. Not this time.
It's been 6 years, Dan. I do not want to record a silly audio drama with you.
The funny thing was that as we went through, I ended up changing some posters because the posters had a younger version of me on it.
It
felt
had
weird.
Skinny me on it.
Skinny Will. So it was fun to kind of go, oh god, we've been making this series for so long, we've had to change the poster image because it no longer looks like us. But no, it has been a good experience so far, though. I'm very looking forward to getting it finished and people to see it.
I'm very looking forward to getting it finished as well.
At least then it'll be over and I won't be badgering you for any more lines.
Yeah.
For a while.
For a while.
And this podcast
episode. Until 30 and Dan's like, right, so season 2.
Season 24, episode 2. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know what I would do if I didn't do it. You know what I mean? I feel like, for me, it's like, I'd much rather be doing something, even if it's stupid, than be doing nothing and just be like on the sofa all day. Or, God forbid, going to the shop. So I'd much rather be doing that than, spending the evening doing that rather than just sitting doing nothing. So that's always been that's what I've always viewed it as, not being like a waste of time, because it's never.
No, it's definitely not a waste of time. I think when you see the product.
The product. Ooh.
Thing. The final product.
Ooh.
Really.
Don't call it the final product.
It is the final product.
The finished
Friday,
episode.
Daniel.
The finished.
It's the final product.
Products are never. Then episodes are never finished. You can always change them.
It's the final product releasing to the public.
Yes. As you can see, Will's connectivity issues and my internet meant that I am now going to be recording this podcast outro by myself. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe and of course like if you haven't already. You can check out the podcast on a whole bunch of different streaming platforms, including Spotify and Deezer and iTunes, and you can find it all available there, plus all old episodes. So if you want to go back to Will with a very squeaky voice, then please do. Of course, episode 1 of our audio series comes out on Friday the 16th of June at about 7 o'clock, which is very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking. So if you want to see the final product of the stuff that we talked about today, you can see the first third of it very soon. But I want to thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the support. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Goodbye.